Hey guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg, with a look at the new Apple iPad Air 2 smart case. So, of course, the iPad Air 2 is all new, necessitating a new design for the smart case. Now, the smart case launched last year on the original iPad Air and was available only in leather, and that's still the case today, but now we have new colors. These colors actually reflect the leathers that are on the Apple iPhone 6 cases. So the iPhone 6 Plus cases I reviewed, those are the same colors available here. So we have black, product red, midnight blue, olive brown, and soft pink. So if you don't like leather, there is the smart cover. It doesn't provide the same level of protection, but it's a non-leather option and it's cheaper. It's also, of course, lighter, thinner, and doesn't provide as much bulk as a smart case does. Now, the smart cover is carried over unchanged. It works with both the iPad Air and the iPad Air 2. The only difference now is a new color option, so we finally have a white color, which is kind of nice with the gold iPads. Now, in case you're wondering, the iPad mini smart cases are unchanged because the device itself didn't change, but they do get the updated color options. Now, the iPad Air 2 smart case retails for a pretty hefty $79. That's the same price as last year. Now, the original iPad Air case is now only available in black, so they've eliminated the other colors, which were a little different than the ones now. Those colors were a little brighter. These are darker and more muted, possibly to weather a little bit better than those brighter colors did. Now, once again, the packaging is pretty familiar here. You can see that the iPad depicted on the back is the midnight blue color instead of the light brown from last year. Again, you can see the trifold design of the front cover, which props it up in a landscape orientation or a keyboard orientation. Of course, we'll take a look at that in this video. So to open this up, it's pretty simple. Just pull the tab, push the cover through, and pull your case out, and we can take a close look around. Now, once again, the interior of this case is completely lined with a nice microfiber material that's color matched to the leather you chose. So it provides both impact and shock protection, as well as protection from dust and grit. So if anything gets between the iPad and the case, that microfiber material absorbs it and prevents it from moving around and potentially grinding against your iPad. Now, toward the top, you'll find the smoother material that lines up with the LTE version of the iPad. So if you have an LTE version, it comes with this little plastic window for the cellular radios to work through the metal chassis of the iPad, so it lines up perfectly with that. I'm not sure what the purpose is, but this was also here on the original iPad Air case. We also have our cutouts for the headphone jack, as well as the camera and the microphones. We also have fully covered sleep-wake power button, as well as our volume buttons along the side. Now, embossed in the material toward the bottom is the iPad branding. It no longer says smart case like it did last year. We also have designed by Apple in California, along with a natural leather stamp. And of course, if you get the product red version, you also get that branding included as well. Now, toward the bottom edge, you'll find your lightning connector, as well as perfectly aligned perforations for the speaker grills, so none of those are muffled. So let's go ahead and install the case. It's really simple. Just drop the iPad in and push in at each corner until each one snaps on. Now, on the back of the case, we have this nice big Apple logo embossed toward the center. Toward the camera, you'll see we have a cutout for the camera and the microphone. If you look to the side of that, again, another cutout for the microphone, as well as our completely covered volume buttons. Now, these buttons are a little stiff to operate at first, but do wear in over time like most leather products. Also, toward the top, again, that's the same story with the covered sleep-wake power button. Now, toward the other corner, you'll find a headphone jack, which does look a little tight here, so some headphones might have issues with it. And toward the bottom, we'll find plenty of room for the lightning connector, as well as perforations that line up with those on the iPad itself. So with the case on, once again, we have that trifold cover, which protects the glass of the iPad and sticks to the glass of the iPad thanks to magnets. And with those magnets, when you open up the cover, it wakes it up. When you close it, puts it back to sleep. Now, you can turn this off and on under settings if you prefer. So this also acts as a trifold prop. So you can fold it back, holds together pretty nicely. So you can prop it up for your keyboard orientation. So if you want to set it up for typing, or you can prop it up for landscape orientation. So you can put a keyboard in front of it. If you have a Bluetooth keyboard, you can put it in front of your iPad to act as a kind of desktop solution, or for a movie mode. Now, the cover completely folds back here, and there are magnets on the back which help to keep it together so it doesn't flop around. Now, of course, you can't use the camera when you do this, but all you have to do is bend that flap back and your camera is now exposed again. Now, with the flap open, you have that nice soft material on the back, which feels really nice in the hand, and then you have that edge along the side, which adds some gripability to your iPad here, but it does flex just a little bit toward the edge when you're handling it. It's not a big deal. I think it's pretty minor. Now, this trifold case design works extremely well. There are magnets at the edge of the cover, which adhere to the hinge of the smart case. So when it's folded up, it's nice and rigid. So if you have it in, for example, keyboard orientation, you can see the way it folds up here, even though it's using magnets, the way it folds up here, you can push as hard as you want on it and it won't collapse. And that's just the way it folds up. The edge of the cover digs into the hinge. So the harder you push on it, it won't collapse. So again, really nice design. The magnets just kind of put it in place for you. This also works the same in landscape orientation. So again, you can see there's enough surface area to prop up the iPad so it doesn't collapse or knock over when you're interacting with the display. So again, it's really stable. It's also really strong, so you can basically push on it and it won't collapse. The harder you push on it, the more the hinge digs in. So again, a really nice design. This works better than something like the smart cover, which will just pop off the iPad. So once again, the iPad Air 2 smart case is perfectly designed for your iPad. So all the ports and buttons and speaker grills and microphones are perfectly lined up. The case provides full 360-degree protection with nice materials on the outside and inside. It also adds additional functionality thanks to that tri-fold design, all in a nice lightweight package. This only adds about 5.2 ounces to the weight of your iPad. Now, of course, it is thicker, so it adds some bulk to your iPad, so it doesn't feel quite as razor thin as it did before, and it's not as easy to take off as the smart cover. So with the smart cover, you can just take it off and set it aside if you just want to use your iPad without it. But of course, with this, it takes a little more prying to get it out of the case. Now, in the end, while we have really nice materials here, it feels really great in the hand, this is still a soft leather material which will age over time, just like the iPhone 6 cases. So that's something to consider here. But of course, with those darker colors this time, they will weather better over time than those lighter colors from last year. That is, of course, unless you get the soft pink color, which is still a very light color. Now, personally, I prefer the olive brown color for the gold iPads, but of course, I also picked up this red color to test that out as well. So I'll switch it up over time to see which one I prefer. So what do you guys prefer? Black, red, midnight blue, olive brown, or soft pink? Please let me know in the comment section below. But that's going to do for me in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you again in the next one.